Coach, last week, I know it was tough for you guys last week, and just trying to get things rolling offensively. You kind of ran into a buzzsaw, too, because they're playing pretty well right now. As you assessed that game last week, talk about some of the things that you liked and certainly some of the things that you know you got to work on for this week.
Yeah, well, for one thing, we hung tough. I mean, we were down, I think, it was 6-0 at half. And going into the third quarter, I didn't feel like we had any give up in us. But, they beat us. I don't even know what to say. I mean, that night they were better than us, and I'll tip my hat to them. They did some good things. They've got some good athletes, and no excuses out of this guy. We got beat.
Yeah, sometimes that's just the way it is, right? I mean, there's just no other way to put it.
Yep.
Coach, from a standpoint of this week, and I know you put that week behind you, but this football race is a long way from being over. You got a lot of football to be played.
Yeah, we just talked about it out there tonight that, there are no guarantees in this TEC. We've seen seasons where we thought we had a front runner and it ended up being a team losing 2 games wins the conference. So you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know who's going to get injured. You don't know what freaky things are going to happen. You don't know when it's going to pour buckets. And those type of things can impact games and change races around. So we are 1-1, and we're taking it week by week, just like we were last week. And the two teams, or the team we lost to last week, definitely was not a bad team, and Eastern Hancock's not a bad team either. So we're still on track, and people have to remember this is it's not a young team, but it's an inexperienced team that's kind of learning as they go, and that's not an excuse, but I don't think we're nearly what we're gonna be right now.
Not an excuse, but it is a factor, right?
It is. I mean, youth and inexperience can impact too. But football is a football season is a journey, and a lot of coaches will tell you that you want to be playing your best ball at the end. And we still feel like we played better last week than we played the week before in some ways. Certainly not sticking it in the end zone, but we had some turnovers again. We're struggling with turnovers.
Tell you what, though, it seems like the kids are keeping a pretty good attitude about everything, right?
I think so. They don't really have a choice. A football season is different than other sports. You don't really have a chance to feel sorry for yourself. If you do, you're done. And so you have to immediately come in that next Saturday morning and start preparing for the next team. So, we don't sit around and cry in our Cheerios. We get it going, and the next day we say this is our next opponent, and we show a few things we need to improve on, and away we go. And every week's different.
Coach, try is kind of a hard one to figure out a little bit. You mentioned that a little bit ago, that the Nick Wilson kids running, certainly running pretty well right now, but it's kind of hard to gauge where they're at. He
leads the conference. That's what we told our guys. You're facing the conference leading rusher, according to Max Preps at least, and we've set some goals. We want to try and do a little bit better defensively this week. But Try has I think a pretty dynamic young coach who has kind of switched things up a little bit over there, and Mr. Wilson, their running back, is a good runner. I don't care if he's running against, it doesn't matter to us who he does it against, but we're focusing more on, we feel like Northeastern's the biggest opponent that we have right now. We got to fix some things ourselves, and not taking anything away from Try, but we've not spent a whole lot of time this week talking about what the opponent was going to do so much as what we need to do better.
And the one thing about it, and you've been around this game a long time, everything that you're seeing from your football team, I'm getting the indication everything's fixable right now.
Oh, yeah. There's nothing irretrievably broken at all. We've got some talented kids. I really, and some good kids, smart kids, and I'm not giving up on them. Never will. And they feel a little bit of grieving, a little bit of remorse over last week because they feel like they let the program down, but they have not, and we're gonna get at it. And we've got some big games, and like you said earlier, who knows what's going to happen?